talk about your relationship with Tyson Fury. Now, I've seen some Instagram posts with you two. You guys are hilarious together.
Tyson is a character. He came into Barry's house the other week, a few weeks ago. He could barely fit through the door. He had to turn sideways to get in the door, it was so small. But Tyson, I'm happy at the minute for him because he's in a good place. He's just started back doing a bit of training. He's looking at fighting the new year, and he's allowed to fight. The British Boxing Board of Control is backing him again, which is nice because, at one stage he was in a very, very bad place. Like, he just didn't care about anything. Like, he wasn't at home with his kids, he wasn't at home with his missus, he was just gone constantly, but on his own, like. I a couple of times at the ring and say, listen, come down here, like, to get him, and just really go and sit in the pub with him, really. I was just like to keep him company a little bit because he was just so down because he felt that everybody turned against him a little bit.
Yeah.
And which is weird because I always thought he was strong, and because it's very frightening because if someone like him of his mindset could go mentally weak, it can happen to anybody because he's so mentally strong. Because if he says he's going to jump in front of a car, he's not just saying it, he would do it.
Yeah.
He's just one of them. He don't say stuff and not do it. He says it and he does it.
It seems like there's a price that comes with fame, right?
Yeah.
Because it seems like once he won, he beat Klitschko, he had this super rise to fame. For those who didn't really know of him, knew of him at this point. And all of a sudden, it just seems like the media was on him left, right, and center about everything he said, everything he did. And I can imagine the type of pressure that puts on a person, and it can make anyone sort of...
See, a character like Tyson as well, he don't think before he says anything. What he says is the truth. If he says something out of the ordinary, it's probably scripted to the Bible or so, because he reads a lot of the Bible. Or it's got to be a fact for him to say it, but facts that people don't want to hear. It might be the truth, but people don't. You're not.
Well, we live in a generation where you can't say anything these days.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally can't say anything without offending somebody.
Yeah.
And then it becomes an issue.
And
do you find that hard also to be able to just speak your mind without offending everybody?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it very hard, but I sort of not learnt off Tyson, but just like looked and thought I don't want to go down that road because where Tyson come from, he's had a tough upbringing, and he's always been looked up to by his family because they always knew what he was going to be.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me when he got there, people were just trying to throw daggers to bring him down, and he got more attention and more fame off the drug charge than his work in the ring. And everybody makes a mistake. And he tested positive for cocaine, and the next thing but I knew he was going for a bad time. It wasn't like the Tyson I knew, it was like someone else. But I'm happy now that he's back to himself. He's been back to himself for the last 6 months.
I imagine how much more healthy it would be for him to be able to have the license to box, because that's really what ultimately keeps everybody sort of in
100%. I mean, we was talking about it, and I'll never forget that I was going to Spain to a training camp. I'm going to Marbella, and I thought I'll bring him with me. I'll ring him up. I'll get him away because he was he was in the wrong little clique for him, in the wrong crowd there. So I got him away over Spain. He was there for about 3 weeks, and I absolutely just cleared his head, just told him the truth. We was in the gym twice a day. He was running. He was loving it. And I think that pulled him around a lot because he started to realise now that, are you my mate? A little bit. Are you my mate? Are you my mate? Because mates don't want to go and get him when he's in that state and bring him to a nightclub and bring him to the pub. A proper mate would have brought him to the gym. Would have brought him elsewhere, but he was down over certain stuff. It shows what sort of character he is to come out of that and pull himself. And I know that he'll be world champion again, 100%.
What did you learn from his experience of being that low?
It can be very frightening, very lonely. What he was talking about some stage, like he went, what are we living for? And I said to him, well, what you're living for is obviously your family and your kids. Your kids you're living for. It don't matter if you want to be or you don't want to be here. Even if you don't want to be here, you have to be here, because who's going to look after your son? Who's going to bring your little girl up? Who's going to do this and do that? And he was this. And after a couple of days, he started coming around a little bit. And then he was fine then. He just, you know, he got back in the gym, and I remember he was so fat. And I was looking at him and I was thinking, he's got to do pads on him, he's going to be blowing on 1 or 2. And he done about 10, and he was just as sharp as me. I was thinking, like, he's just a super talent. Super talent. And what people don't realise is that he hasn't lived the life properly. He hasn't lived the life properly. He trains hard, but he hasn't lived the life properly. He hasn't ate the right food, the food that's going to benefit him. And he's still unified. He still went over there, beat Klitschko, and done that on the back of that. So.
You mean in terms of like a more structured boxing life, like?
Yeah. Like, you know, same as me. Like after a fight, he'll have 6-7 weeks off. Just chill out and do what you want to do.
Did you want him here in camp with you?
He was coming, yeah. I spoke to him not long ago. He's coming down, but then he had to because he's got OCD voice, and he's got he had to go and get something done to his voice, his throat, and that put him back a couple of weeks. So he's just started now, starting back an easy bit of training, and he's more than welcome here. You know, the gym will love him here. He's a great buzz, good company, but he would fit in lovely because he do work hard. The work effort is like second to none. Even though he's big, he works really, really hard. You know, this shows he works hard to get where he's got. So, you know, but he's really back in love with it to an extent now. And I think that Joshua's out, to be honest. Joshua's out because I watched Joshua in the amateurs before he was even in the Olympics. You know, I remember seeing him at boxing shows, and I always thought to myself, like watching him, he's going to be good in. And he came through, and then he just absolutely took everything by storm. And I got a lot of time for him. He's a real good talent. And I believe that them two fighting is going to be. I reckon it's going to go down in boxing history.
Yeah.
A Wembley Stadium wouldn't be big enough. You know, it's going to be real big, and you know, Joshua is something to be inspired against as well, because it's not all about Tyson as well, because Joshua's bringing his bit to the table as well. But I know in Joshua's head, he's got to be thinking, I'm not happy until I beat him.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for Tyson Fury, nobody would have a belt heavyweight. There would be no big unification fights. There wouldn't be no Deontay Wilder's WBC champion, no Joseph Parker's. No disrespect to them, but they wouldn't. Because they wouldn't be prepared to go to Germany and do what Tyson did.
Right.
He went there, he rolled the dice, but he knew what he was going to do. He was telling me his full game plan all along, and I was thinking, are you sure? Yep. He was saying, that's what I'm going to do. He went on Sky Sports and said what he was going to do. He openly told his game plan out on Sky Sports. He was going to switch southward and turn. He just told that. He went in and pulled it all off. He did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
And I know Joshua cannot be happy, because I wouldn't cannot be happy until he beats him. You know, I look at now that Golovkin he holds all the other belts. And in my own head, I think to myself, well, am I the best? Even though I'm world champion, but am I the best in the world? That's the reason why I want to fight him so much, because I want to do that. Am I the best? We'll see. I might not be, but I believe I am. And I'm not happy until I get that fight. And I know that Joshua will be that same sort of effect with Tyson.
So I'd imagine with all of Anthony Joshua's success, that, like you were saying, it's motivating Tyson to come back. Do you think that he could be a bigger star than Joshua?
In the art of boxing, I personally think that yes, he can. Joshua's a very good people's person. He lives by the rules a lot. You know, if he gets told to do something, he would do it. So he's a good people's person. He's good for TV. He's good for, you know, for the public. But with Tyson, you know, if something's wrong and he gets told to say it, he won't say it. It won't be, you know, if you remember rightly about British, I think it was at the some awards, Personality of the Year award.
Yeah.
You know, they was writing him off saying they didn't even want him there. You know, but it didn't. Other people, but it didn't even bother him, because he ain't in it for fame.
Yeah.
He actually don't like it. Like if we're away, it's weird because he'd be walking down the street and then he'd try to hide right me. I'm thinking, like, I'll see him, like, just keep walking, Bill, just keep walking. And I'm thinking to myself, how are you trying to hide right me? I'm 5'10", and you're like 7 foot. And he's twice as wide as me as well. And it's funny. But that don't interest him.
Yeah.
He don't like that part of it. You know, he don't like the part of the fame bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't. You know, you get some, Joshua might not like it, but he's there, like he's in there, and you know, he's good for the sport. He's raised the sport, and I'm very happy he's done that, Joshua, because you know, it's good for us, it's good for everybody. But Tyson, I don't think he'll ever be the people's person like Joshua, but I love Joshua's style. He's all action. You know, he puts it on the line. He's a real good talent, and I genuinely got a lot of time for him. But you know, in boxing, you have to speak the truth, and you just don't beat Tyson in no area.
What did you think of his performance against Takam?
Do you know what? I thought that, you know, it's good for him to get the rounds. He got, 10 rounds. But it's not good going in and knocking them out. It's good for the fans, like 1, 2 rounds and seeing someone lay out cold, but you know, you need to get them little headbutts, you need to get them punches back sometimes, because to learn, to get that experience. Like, if he was to fight Tyson, there's no way you're going to knock him out. Like, he's not going to knock Tyson Fury out. Nobody can knock. Tyson's chin is second to none. And I genuinely believe he's got that sort of character about him. If he was hurt, and he would still find a way. So he needed that for them experience if he's talking about the Fury fights, because he hasn't been in the ring with anybody I know except Klitschko of Tyson's level. And you know, when Tyson boxed Klitschko, alright, it wasn't an exciting fight like Joshua's needs, but I don't think Tyson even come out with a black eye. You know? I don't even think he came out with a black eye. And to get down someone what ain't been beat for 10 years and hold all them titles and come out not even a black eye, like, that's
pretty impressive.
Yeah. You know, and because he's clever in the ring, you know, he's crafty, he knows what he's got to do, he's sharp, he's fast, he's switched on. And that's the reason why it would have been a big shame if we didn't see him in the ring again, because I believe that him and Joshua bring to the table something that no other heavyweight has done. You know, I think this could be the biggest fight in boxing history. I genuinely believe, because you know, I think that it would fill out. I reckon Wembley Stadium would be a sellout in an hour.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah, it's sold out in 1 hour.
And additional seating that they'd probably add.
Yeah. So that would just be gone. So for one, it's a promoter's dream. For two, it makes their dream obviously come true, because they'll probably get about 50 million each. And it's good for sport. It's good for our sport. And you know, when people say, "Oh, boxing's dying out," it's been bigger. It's bigger than ever. You know, it's bigger than ever.
What do you think of Eddie Hearn saying that he wants to promote Tyson Fury? If
I was a promoter, I'd want to promote him. You know, if any promoter, probably Frank Warren does. Mick Hennessy does. All of these promoters would love to promote him. All of them. You know, I remember Don King tried to get him over there as well, and stuff like that. But you know, he's sensible. He'd go with either Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn. He's you know, but Eddie Hearn, he obviously wants that fight, because if Eddie Hearn got Tyson Fury, then Eddie Hearn would be probably about 30 million richer. So you don't blame him for wanting Tyson, but you know, I think that the main thing is that the fight gets made, whoever it's with. Absolutely. The main thing for boxing fans, you know, that's a treat enough, because you don't only get the fight, you get the build-up. You got Tyson outspoken, you know, says it how it is, character. You got Joshua, cool, calm, takes it all in. You know, we haven't seen no one rattle Joshua at a press conference yet. Well, I believe that Tyson probably would. He probably would get under his skin.
Yeah.
Could even be a fight before the fight. So yeah, it'd be good to see.
Let's talk about being a gypsy.
Yep.
What's the biggest misconception that people have?
You've got all different types. You've got English, Irish, Scotch, Welsh, Spanish, American, Canadian. You've got all different, but you know, they all get tied with the same brush. Like, they're all, if someone does something bad this end of the country, oh, Billy Joe's a gypsy, he's a bad man, like, or it's just like I've got a lot of Asian friends, I've got a lot of black friends, I've got a load of friends, like we're all different nationalities, and it's like if you walk into London, there's a lot of stabbing crimes going on now. Someone walks into London City, they think, oh, a black man's going to stab me. But not all black people carry knives. You know, not all gypsies are bad people. Not all Asians are terrorists, and all, you know, it's just like it goes around a big circle, and I find that getting tied with the same brush against good and bad, that's the worst, because, you know, if you're white, you're white, you know, if you're Asian, you're Asian. You've got to be proud of who you are, and I try to be the best person I can for my kids, and to see a bit of a role model, hopefully. Probably some things I do is obviously not, I don't want them to do, but most of the stuff I like them to sort of follow in my footsteps, but I want them to get a good education and to learn and to be successful in life. But it's very hard when you're from our culture, because when you're young, you know, you're tested quite a lot. When you're young coming through, you're tested every other day, and that can either break you or make you, one of the two. I've seen a lot where it's broke, you know, where they don't want to keep fighting every day, you know, but sometimes in our way of life, that's why we're so tough, that's what it's about. You know, we've been there being little kids and watching a group of 200 people pull up and there are fights going on, and, you know, everything happening. You're just a little kid watching, like, it's just weird. But sometimes, you know, if you've got no other choice of living, it can make you or break it. I believe it's made me who I am today, that way of life. But my point is that not everybody, if they're gypsies, are bad people. Some good and some, and it's good and bad in everybody. I'm not saying everyone's a saint, but everyone ain't what they're made out to be.
Well, it's like any race.
Yeah.
You're always going to have the good and the bad,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that sometimes the bad
Yeah.
overrides the good.
Yeah.
Educate me about gypsies and you know, from what I understand, you guys travel a lot. Is that the case? Like,
I think that's more now gone out the window now. Like,
Okay.
you don't get a lot of travelling now from the English gypsies. They're like all buying their own property now, and they're all more or less set down and settled people. You got the one-off fairs, like what come on, like the horse fairs that come on, and they all travel there, and they all have a big meet up there once a year, and, you know, but at the minute now, the travelling side is finished. Like, they don't really go out travelling. People think gypsies are the people who carry fairgrounds and carnivals, but they're not gypsies.
Okay.
They just get, because they see caravans and fairs, they think, oh, they're gypsies, but they're not. They're not.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking right here.